What's up, my ninjas? I am back, and this time with more thoughts on G.I. Joe Retaliation. First, I want to talk about um, my observations with the toys and the actor that they've chosen for Roadblock specifically. So, we all know traditionally Roadblock, he is the heavy gunner, and he was kind of a semi-stereotypical character back in the day, with in the animated series with all the rhyming and the some of that was just annoying after a while. But over the years and in the comics, they rectified that. He wasn't always rhyming. They just kind of made him a little bit more introspective. He's a little smarter than than you would think at first glance. Anyway, so they get The Rock to play him. The Rock is half Samoan, half black. So he's mixed. He is a person of color. So I saw his toy, and the toy is practically Stone Cold Steve Austin white. What the fuck is up with that? Okay, so, and maybe they happened to look at footage on a day where, I don't know, it was really bright, and The Rock was a little shinier or a little lighter bronze than normal. But The Rock is pretty brown. He's always been a bronze kind of character. You know what I mean? A bronze person. Um, so the toy is just straight up white. And I remember even on my on the community I joined, the GI Joe community on Facebook. We were looking at this, and some other people said they don't really see that figure as Roadblock. You got to darken him up, and that's how I feel. I'm gonna have to darken that figure up to make him my official Roadblock, because my son has almost all of the 25th anniversary Roadblocks. Roadblock's always been one of his favorite characters because he likes the guy who carries the biggest gun. He always did that kind of thing. So, when I see this, I'm like, wow, seriously? You couldn't darken him up for the sake of the toy? You know what I mean? It's not like The Rock is white. I mean, sometimes he appears lighter than others, but, if you just catch him on a regular, situation, on one of these interviews, or actually, just let's look at him in the movie, and the movie is pretty bronzed. You see him standing next to a fully white cast, white and Asian cast, and you can tell. So, boo to Hasbro for that. Um, the next observation. This observation has to do with the capacity in which they present certain characters, mainly Roadblock, to the audience. Why is it that only after you make a character who is traditionally a soldier, like a soldier to the nth degree. I'm not saying soldier in he is limited in his thinking or something like that. I just mean he's like a model soldier. Why is it that, the model soldier can't be the leader? When you make him the leader, like, I'm happy that they made him, a person of color. They've elevated him to leader status. Okay, fine, that's cool. They should have put Stalker in there instead, but whatever. But I'm happy they elevated him to leadership status. But why does he only get to leadership status once you've made him a ninja? Almost as if a man can't be awesome unless he's a ninja in the G.I. Joe universe. I mean, it's bad enough they use Snake Eyes as the Deus Ex Machina for everything in every single story, just about. It's bad enough that when they make an animated series, they can't for the life of them make stories that don't alienate half the team in order to make the ninja look supreme, I guess. I just don't understand why that's the case. And then now you have imprinted that same thing onto your next character that you want to put under the microscope. And in order to make him quote unquote awesome, he has to have ninja training. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? The president has been impersonated, and ninja training is going to save you from, it's going to help you complete your mission. That, I don't get it. And even with the amount of imagination that I have, that sounds stupid. And it's funny because, like, The Rock. Every time I watched an interview with The Rock, which at first I was planning not to watch any interviews. I wanted to go into this completely blind, kind of like I did with the Avengers for the most part. But I wanted to go into it completely blind and be amazed by whatever they do or be completely disgusted. But every time I watched an interview with The Rock, he gave away more and more and more, in a read between the lines kind of way, And when he kept saying how you're going to see Roadblock elevated from the way we know him to something more. And he's talking about Roadblock using gun kata and how Roadblock and Snake Eyes have a relationship, like a brotherhood. And I'm like, wait a second, dude. Like, you guys just added all this stuff that we already had characters in the G.I. Joe universe to that fill this quota. You know what I'm saying? They do these things already. So I don't know, man. It's like the closer we get to the movie coming out and the more I see about this flick, the less interested I am. I almost feel like though they took their cues from Renegades, which ultimately is a good idea because Renegades had a decent idea. It's just that they lost our Joes in translation. But if you keep the characters intact and then put them in a situation similar to Renegades, yeah, you got a good story because the Joes have to scrape to find ways to do what they need to do. They can't just jump in and have all their resources and shit. That's cool, but like, really, ninja training to accomplish this? You can't just have one. I mean, Snake Eyes is in the movie, Storm Shadow's in the movie, Jinx is in the movie. We needed another ninja? I don't know. This whole ninja-tastic bullshit just frustrates me on a level because it feels like it's going to dumb down the rest of the team. And there are other characters in there like Cross Country, some character named Mouse, who I don't really remember. Maybe it's from the period when I stopped reading G.I. Joe comics. I don't know. Maybe he's a new character. I have no idea. Tunnel Rat's in there. I don't know. There's too many aspects about this that I'm just not feeling, like I really hope that this is one of those times where what I think is going on and what I've been led to believe is not what's actually happening. Because, I started collecting G.I. Joe for the second time when Rise of Cobra popped up. Now, the movie was not a stellar movie at all. It had moments, a few moments, but it had mostly really cool designs, really cool tech. The look of the movie was all right. I dug that. The movie itself, I could care less. You know what I mean? But I started there and I like those toys. I really would like for once to have a movie that's serviceable, that's at least serviceable to go along with the collection when I decide to collect, because my son and I, like I said, this is our little thing. This is our bonding thing. We bond over collecting G.I. Joes and playing around with them and stuff. And he understands that G.I. Joe is the super heroic version of real world military. And they fight sci-fi threats. If we get this and this 10-year-old gets this and kids all over the world get this, why can't the movie makers get it, I mean, it looks like there's a little bit more of sci-fi in there. But I really would like for them to stop focusing on certain aspects of individual characters' backstory and turning that into the general backstory of everybody. Because they don't all have to be ninjas in order to be badass. That's just stupid. Anyway, that's my rant. Those are my thoughts. Get at me. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think I'm off with the look of Roadblock and how his figure is, I mean, I know what I see. I got a degree in art. I know my colors. But I just want to know if anyone else has noticed this observation, As usual, I know there's going to be people that are going to jump on and argue, so jump on and argue. I like discussing this stuff regardless. You got any other information? Throw it at me. Let me know what you think, all right? So I will talk to you later, guys. Peace outside.